Hello and welcome to another episode of Founded Fresh It. This week we're going to be talking all about what exactly is dog training. We're going to give you a whole heap of honesty, a load of heart, and probably a load of humor along the way. Joining me for this week's episode is none other than our amazing LWDG expert, Claire Denia. How are you, my darling?
Hello, I'm very well and I'm waving, but no one can see me. I've just realised, except for you. So that's a good start.
One day will be a video podcast that everybody will see our humor, but just not quite yet. Let's talk about, and I think the reason we want to talk about it is because, there are loads of different forms now of gun dog training or gun dog style training, and there's like a merging of different types of training that we can do. A little bit like all the disciplines of martial arts when they sort of merged and became mixed up. Let's start with really, what is gun dog training, would you say?
Okay. I think for me, gun dog training is taking some innate natural abilities and drives of a breed of dog and using those drives and abilities to fulfill that dog's needs, and to create a magical bond between the dog and the handler and to work together. And whether that be a hobby or way more than a hobby, you are just satisfying that dog's needs in a way that that dog really appreciates and creating a fantastic bond. For me, that's what gun dog training essentially is all about.
I totally agree with that. And I think, well, we don't forget it, but a gun dog is a gun dog because it had within it all these hunting skills that were honed to be even better, to hunt, find game, put food on the table, put birds in front of guns, put deer in front of stalkers, etc. Whatever was going on, all those different things were about. I don't like using the word sport, even though it seems sport now. They were
Mhm.
about a teamwork to put food on the table, weren't they?
Absolutely. And I think that's it. You've hit the nail on the head. And I think, yes, it has probably become more of a sport, because, well, partly because of competition, and because some people are doing it as a hobby slash sport, but not to actually work the dog for the purpose that it was originally designed and created for. So yeah, I think it's weird because when you say sport, it makes you feel a little bit irky. If you have a working dog and you don't want it to be thought of that finding birds or finding game is a sport, but equally if you're not maybe doing that side of it, and you are doing it for a hobby or competition, but maybe not doing it for the food on the table side of it, it is a sport. So I kind of get where you're going with that because it feels a little bit wrong, but equally a little bit right.
I think it's definitely right. I think the outcome has changed, and not because of the sport side of it, but because, if I look back to when I was younger, my brother used to go out lambing with a lurcher, bring it back, and then the rabbit would become food for the table, right? He didn't need to do it every day. My mum was quite capable of going to Tesco's, but it was something that could be done within the house. And when my brother trained the dog, it was um to get them ready to actually go out and do this. And he'd go out and get a rabbit and he'd come home. It wouldn't be like, okay, now I need to get 50 rabbits. It was just in and out. And the dog was like part of that process. And then they'd come home,
Yeah.
Lurch'd go in the kennel, and that would, happen again the next night. I think now we train more and we spend more time in the training phase than maybe we do in the hunting phase. So it has changed. We are more focused. We are more precise around our training. We have to have more patience around our training because we ask more of the dog in the training phase than we do the hunting phase.
100%. And also, it's very addictive. And so the training itself becomes addictive. Like, I was talking to a client about this the other day. She's very new to the gun dog training scene. And I was talking to her, and she said, I never want to work my dog. And I never really want to take it to this level or that level. So, like, is it for me? And I said, absolutely. And what I explained to her was, in our beginner level of gun dog training, probably about 50 to 70% of the people in that class um, are doing it just to build obedience in a fun way, to teach their dog skills which will help prevent behavioral problems. So, like retrieving, but we can talk about that later, maybe in the podcast, how retrieving can prevent behavioral problems. And there's something to do with their dog for fun and as a hobby. Then you get like the novice level, and there's a greater percentage of people that are going to take it more seriously because you start to teach. And this is just in our training setup. In that novice level, you're maybe teaching the directions and progressing the stop whistle and things like that. But then from intermediate, where we start putting all of those elements together, people then get hooked. So that's when people that get to that level have learned those individual skill sets, and then you're putting those together and they go, this is amazing. And at that point, you tend to get that 90% or even 100% hook on of just addictiveness to training their dog. And that's when people start to go, well, maybe I could work my dog, or maybe I could do competition, because all of a sudden the training aspect has become like addictive because they can see there's real potential in their dog. So I think, for us, when we're talking to clients, I always say never, because you just don't know how this journey is going to go for you once you start.
Yeah, and we see it like with the members. There's pretty much, well, we actually did a poll on it, didn't we? There's a 50-50 split between those who will take their dog to work in the traditional sense on an estate or in the mountains, wherever that might be, and then 50% who don't. And when they start a foundation, when they're dealing with things like sit, stay, recall, heel, it doesn't matter what your outcome is, whether you're using gun dog training or another form of training. At the beginning, we're all teaching the fundamentals that are the same for everyone.
Yeah, 100%. And if you think about it, when people go to obedience classes or other dog sports, there's so much of those foundations are the same. The heel work, the recall, the sit and stay, the self control, the steadiness. That doesn't only happen in gun dog training, it happens in other disciplines and other sports as well. The thing that makes it unique is the retrieving aspect, and the hunting aspect. That's what makes it more unique. But even in other sports, they have a retrieve. And in other disciplines, they have a retrieve. So it's not just gun dog specific, but I think, when we're talking about gun dog training, we have to remember the purpose of it really is to give an outlet for that dog's real drives. It's sort of innate behaviors, the thing the dog was bred to do.
I think somewhere where we differ, and maybe it's not really acknowledged, is we spend a lot of time teaching our dogs to like stay stay sharp, but stay calm in really
Yeah.
stimulating environments. Like we're going to send 100 birds past your face. You're going to sit there calmly, but you're still going to wait for me to tell you to go and pick up that ball that I threw the other way. And that's like quite a unique perspective. I don't see any other sport where they're asked for that level of discipline within the dog.
I would agree. And I have to say, to potentially new owners in the gun dog world, first time gun dog owners, let's say, who don't understand the sport, very often they will contact me and John and they will send us an email. And it does make me smile to myself because we have to really actually explain what gun dog training is, because quite often people will say, my dog loves to chase birds or loves to chase squirrels. So I think he'd be great at gun dog training. And they've completely missed the point that that isn't what we're teaching the dog to do, unless it's under a very certain specific circumstance. We actually teach the opposite. Don't chase, only go when sent. And so when people are messaging saying, I think my dog would be great at this because he loves to chase things across the field, I'm like, oh gosh, really need to kind of like explain actually what we're teaching the dog to do.
Dogs as trained using gun dog practice, I think, is normally an incredibly well managed dog in any circumstance that you put them in. And that's not an accident. We've trained them to be like that. But I think there's also the fact they can emotionally regulate. They aren't phased by what we put in front of them. And I think that's something that we should all be proud of, even when we are training them and, taking them from like being a caterpillar into a butterfly in the dog world, and they've still got a long way to go. They are still learning skills we don't ask of maybe other breeds.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And you're completely right. We are really teaching them something quite unique, and we're asking a lot of them. And we need those dogs to be pretty resilient, to understand and to have that level of self control, to do the skill sets that we're teaching them to do. But that doesn't mean it's unachievable. I think it's just so often that when people are dealing with problems with their dog, whether that be chasing or other things like that, it just seems like such a big ask to go from a dog that behaves like that to a dog that can sit steady, to things like birds flying past. And I think, the way that I see that is they haven't realized how many stepping stones there are from getting to where they are to where they will essentially take themselves to and be. And it is the thing. And it's having that really structured training process that takes the dog through those steps that gets that result.
Only when you've been involved in gun dog training for a while do you actually look at, I don't know, like a field trial champion dog and go, I'm in awe because I know what it took for you to get that. What's the word? To get that certification, those letters after your name. It wasn't given out in a second. You really grafted to be an incredible dog. The dog grafted.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a very special kind of dog to get to that standard. And yeah, it's incredible to watch. It is fantastic to watch those dogs, do that. And the amount of patience and consistency in training that it takes to get there is quite astounding, really, quite astounding. But that doesn't have to be everybody's aspiration. Some people literally just want a well-rounded, well-behaved, well-trained dog that they can take out and have some fun with. And that's where having different offerings of gun dog training is useful, because not everybody does want to train for a field trial champion. So
Sure.
that's having that is important.
I also think as well, when we're talking about this, it sounds very serious. There's tons and tons and tons of like mental stimulation and fun and, you know, partnership building in this journey as well, isn't it? And that's something that anybody who works with a dog, be that like a police person with a dog, a farmer with a dog, they have worked a long time to get the dog to enjoy wanting to do things for and with them.
Yeah, absolutely. The joy for the dog is immeasurable. To see the dog do things that it was born and bred to do, and to have fun doing it. And they should have fun doing it. And this is the thing that we talk about all the time in our training. Yes, there are serious elements to what we're teaching. And yes, like you have to put a certain amount of effort into that training. So it's not something that's, oh, well, I can train for 5 minutes once a week and expect this result. However, it should still be fun. Training your dog, whatever skill set you're training it in, should be fun, should be rewarding for both the dog and the handler. And if it's not, there's something wrong with that training. It should be fun. It absolutely should be fun and should be relationship building.
Tonight, we're going to be doing our free live webinar on dealing with overexcitement and focus in a dog. And I think something that dogs who are trained to a good level and dogs that are trained to a good level as gun dogs, they have balanced that, haven't they? They've got really good focus and really good control over their excitement levels. And I think that's where gun dog training really comes into its own. It's like now, whatever dog it is a well balanced dog, happy dog, confident dog, comfortable dog in all environments and enjoys life, whatever you take it to do.
100%. Yeah, exactly. Sometimes to get that well-rounded pet, these sorts of gun dog skills can help build that in for you. Because if you've got a dog that you do gun dog training with and it's learnt to be steady to wildlife and it's learnt that it should have good social manners around other people and other dogs, it's going to be much easier to take that dog on a walk, to take that dog to the pub, to take that dog to see family and meet friends and family and their dogs, because you've got a well balanced dog. So, I think too often people think that gun dog training is too serious and can't have that well rounded pet dog in the home. Of course, you can. Absolutely. And in fact, if done correctly, it will only benefit and support that.
Yeah, because I think you go into homes where they are well trained and they're pretty chilled out with life. Like they just lay about. They're not really overly excited by anything at all. And then when you compare that to maybe dogs who haven't had that training, they're like into everything. You open up a pack of crisps and they're there wanting to know part of it. It's very different situation and very different feeling. So I think when people look at gun dog training and thinking, oh, is this suitable for, I don't know, my Jack Russell, it absolutely is for what it'll teach them about switching on when they're with you doing something like going to get a ball, retrieving a ball, or switching off when you're cooking dinner.
Yeah, 100%. That's it. Super social. Rose loves it when we have, well, yeah, Rose absolutely adores it when we have visitors and guests. She's really happy to meet people. She loves everybody. But as soon as like that little initial bit of like, hi, it's lovely to see you, welcome into the home is done, she's just super chilled out. She'll go and lay down. She's really happy to have those visitors round. Equally, I can take her to the pub. And again, she gets in there in her towels wagging and she's like, oh, hi, everybody. But as soon as we sit down, she's happy to relax with us. So, those skill sets are only enhanced by what we do in the gun dog training. Because in the gun dog training, we don't want to flatten a dog. We want to lose drive. We want driven to be passionate about what it's doing and be happy about what it's doing. But we have to like put a little bit of a lid on it so they don't explode and chase things and do things they shouldn't be doing. And so teaching that dog through gun dog training how to go up and down through arousal levels and how to work in a high state of arousal, because we want that arousal and drive to have a dog that looks powerful, that has drive, that has style. But we can teach the dogs through gun dog training actually how to still behave and listen when it is in that higher state of arousal, which could only be a beneficial thing.
And I suppose what we started the conversation about, when we look at different styles of training that are sort of turning up now, they're all really lovely. Any training you do with your dog is good training. But if you're wanting the dog to end up being this calm on the couch, focused in the field, we used it last year as a webinar name, then what you're doing might not be enough, isn't it? You must make sure that you're looking for those exercises where you're helping the dog learn to switch on in a focused, calm manner and switch off when it's nothing to do with them.
100%. And that is absolutely the key. For me, we've done masterclasses and we've done podcasts on this for the membership. Group classes are a massive kind of like example of this. And we've done a masterclass for the membership on how to train your dog in group classes, how to get the best out of group classes. And if you've got a group class and you've got dogs screaming on the end of the lead, whining, lunging because they can't control themselves, they're not ready yet for that environment. They're not ready yet to be put in that position. And as a trainer, you should be recognizing that and sort of giving advice firstly on how to train through that. But equally, you might have to say to a client, do you know what, your dog's not ready for this yet. Let's not make this any harder for your dog than it has to be. So for some dogs, you might say you need to have a few one-to-ones to kind of get your dog into a suitable state of mind and to give you the skill sets to learn how to control and manage your dog so that when you come into that group class, you can train effectively. And this is where, like, you see so much stuff on the internet. I feel like I'm like babbling here, but you see so much stuff on the internet of people sort of promoting neutrality classes, promoting all these different kinds of things. Now, for me, gun dog training is that. Gun dog training is promoting a dog who is neutral around other dogs and other people. So I wouldn't add that as a service because that's what every class is for me. For me, every class, whether it's a puppy foundation, a beginner gun dog, advanced gun dog, whatever, every class I run, my aim is for the dog and handler to work together as a team, for the dog to be neutral and happy in that environment around those other dogs and those other handlers, and for that to be success and for the dog to learn new skill sets. So we could, I think you understand what I'm saying there, Joe. I'm literally like, why do we have to overcomplicate this? Like, keep it simple so people understand, because if people feel like to achieve that they've got to search out a trainer who specifically runs, let's say, what they call a neutrality class, they may be under the impression that what we teach doesn't promote that, but it absolutely does promote that. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, absolutely. It's knowing what gun dog training means and what
Yeah.
each level will bring you because, the really, really serious stuff, which looks flashy, looks amazing, we love, let's be honest, I love it. I love to watch a dog hunt when they've got all their skills nailed. Um, that takes time, and you don't have to have that as your end goal. Your end goal, I think, with a gun dog can be 50% trained and you'll still be a cracking dog.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Like I look at, sometimes I get people that might come and do our puppy foundation, then they do a beginner gun dog, and they might stop there and just go, I'm going to dip in now with one-to-ones to maintain what we've trained, one-to-ones to maintain that because they don't want the flashy stuff, but they've got enough that they have a nice, well-mannered, well-rounded, neutral and social dog. And that's just been achieved by that, but it might need maintenance and they might want to come and join a class later on if they want to learn a bit more. um but yeah, not everyone has to go for that kind of like, I want my dog to be a field trial champion just to come and train with a gun dog trainer. I know there are some gun dog trainers out there that that's what they specialize in and that is what they prefer to teach, is the more serious client. And so there obviously is a place in gun dog training for that. But I think it's kind of like, for me, my purpose is to help handlers, regardless of their aim, whether it be just to have a well-rounded pet or whether they want to like work their dog or maybe they want to dip into competitions. My purpose is to help that client and their dog fulfill their personal dreams. It's not for me to impress upon them what I think their dog should do. If they ask my opinion, I might, say, well, actually, you've got a super talented dog here. You could go far, but it's not for me to put my goals onto other people. That's for them to choose.
Absolutely. We hope you've all loved today's podcast and we've looked at gun dog training, what it means, and the other types of training that could sort of be seen coming out of it. I hope that helped you understand that all types of training can be helpful, but different training will give you different outcomes with your dog. And to be aware of that when you choose whatever training it is that you do, so you know what skills you're encouraging in the dog and what skills you may not be working on. Tonight, we do have that webinar. If you've enjoyed listening to myself and Claire Denia, please join us. Just go to www.ladiesworkingdog group.com/overexcitement and register. It is going to be amazing. And there is the option to put your name forward to win £150 worth of gifts from Field and Fireside. That's going to be incredible. The training is going to be incredible. We will be joined by our other group experts as well. We'll be talking all about overexcitement, how to diminish it, how to increase focus, and you will go away knowing so much to help you as you go forward with your dog this spring. Inside the LWDG membership, we take tricky moments like overexcitement, overwhelm, and now like zeroed chaos seriously. And we help you to teach your dog to be calmer, more connected in training sessions, more connected in the coffee shop. And you'll find our expert advice, step-by-step support, and whole community of women who truly get what it's like to be a little bit stuck sometimes. So if you don't have time to join us with the webinar this evening, please join us within the membership. And we look forward to speaking to you next episode. Hey everybody, it's Jo Parr, founder of the Ladies Working Dog Group. Are you feeling stuck with your gun dog training? Trust me, you're not alone, and that's exactly why you need to be here. Every week, we're bringing you the best tips and hacks to make training your gun dog easy peasy. We'll keep it straightforward, no fuss, just actionable guidance that you can put straight to use. So let's get started. That's it for today's episode. A massive thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to head over to the LWDG and sign up for our membership. Get access to expert-led training, a wonderfully supportive community, and the resources you need to become a confident and skilled gun dog trainer. Let's take this journey together, because no woman should have to train her gun dog alone. We'll see you all next week.